Hello, welcome, Ismael, director of Black
Yeah,
Medusa.
hi.
So happy to have
Hi,
you.
Ruth.
Hello, thank
So
you
happy to
so
be
much.
here.
Can you shortly introduce yourself and the film Black Medusa?
Well, my name is Ismael. I'm a filmmaker from Tunisia. I'm director and producer of Black Medusa. I did this film. It's my feature debut film, and I did it with my longtime collaborator and friend, Yusuf Shabi.
Oh, thank you. And how did the two of you came to the idea of Black Medusa?
Well, actually, it's as always. It started with an image that stuck into my head, actually, and the only way to get rid of this image is to write a script and to put it in like a story and character. And for instance, for Black Medusa, the image was at the beginning of the film, but we decided with Yusuf to not to talk about it. But if you already saw the film, I think you can guess what's the image. It's like it's the main character with another character in a room. So it started with this image, and after a while we decided to write the script together with Yusuf and to make a film around this character of Neda, this lonely and mysterious young woman.
Mm-hmm. And in this film, there's quite some violence without giving any judgment or actually also without giving explanation morally or ethnically. Why did you choose this approach?
Well, it wasn't a choice, I have to say. It was like an instinct. From the beginning, even before writing the script, we didn't want to give any psychological elements or even moral one to this story. We felt that the most important thing, or the most important visual aspect that we wanted to share with the audience was the atmosphere, was the mystery, and it was clear from the beginning that this character will be a mysterious one, that we don't have any idea of her background, and at the end also we don't have any idea what she's going to do at the end of the movie. So it was like, it wasn't a choice, it was a way for us to tell the story with our tools, actually, which are like images and sounds, avoiding any moral or psychological aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you already talked a bit about the score and the atmosphere of the film. How did you come to this electronic score, which is lovely, working with the black and white imagery?
Yeah, well, actually, Yusuf is a musician. And at the beginning, the idea was that he was going to do the music of the film. You know, when we work like in collaboration, in co-directing, the first thing that we do is that, or at least with Yusuf, we try to share common influences, you know. It was films, books, and also music. It was very important to us to talk about music. And again, before even writing the script, we had the idea that the music will be very urban kind of music with the guitar, with the electric guitar. And I use as a guitarist, so the natural thing to do at this point, when we were like still working on the script, was we decided to do it like with the electric guitar all along, and with a lot of sound design and like sound atmosphere to it, because the most important thing is that the character decided not to talk. She can talk, but she decided not to talk. So the music, in a way, it was a way for us to express her inner feelings, you know, and it's like the music in the film is like the word that she never spoke in a way. So it was very important. At the end, it wasn't Yusuf that did the music. It was another friend of ours, Omar Alulu, who's actually, it's the first time he uses electric guitar in his work. He's like score composer for many Tunisian contemporary films, but usually he uses only like electronic music in his composition for his scores. But I asked him to for once to avoid as many possible the electronic sounds and to do only a guitar, like a solo of a guitar solo from the beginning to the end. He didn't do it because he added to it like a lot of electronic sounds, but basically it's it's a very urban and very metallic, like a knife, you know, very metallic sound, like a knife that the character used. And yeah, the music is, it's like it composes with the black and white the main atmosphere of the film.
What's also very clear is that Tunis has a big role as the sort of set of this film. We see a lot of nightlife and architecture. Could this film be set in another city, or is it definitely bound to Tunis in that matter?
Well, I think, yeah, I think if we were shooting this very story in another city, the film will have another look. It is very like in a very animal way related to the city. It's our city. Actually, I live in Tunis. Yusuf doesn't live in Tunis. He lives in Paris. But yeah, and from my perspective, living in Tunis, and from his perspective, being born in Tunis but living in Paris, it was the same idea, but in different point of views, to make the city like the second most important character of the film. The first one is obviously Nada, and yeah, the relation to the space, it's always important in every movie. I think when a director or DOP frames a shot, it's always a character in a space, you know. It's basically it. So space is it's a very important aspect of films. And we felt also, Yusuf and I, that the city of Tunis didn't had much of how to say much of very visual, interesting like movies around the city. The city is there's a lot of films in Tunis, but it's also related to certain areas, the old city or the bourgeois kind of neighborhoods. But we wanted to avoid those like two main settings of the city, and to go in more in areas that actually we evolve in, you know, because it's an aspect of the city that we live in, that we see people in, and almost all the nightlife, or all the apartments, or all the streets that we see in the films are common, are like the ones that we live in and that we cross in our daily life. Basically myself, because Yusuf is in Paris, but when he's in Tunis, like we go there. So it was also a way to it was also determined by the way we did the film. We did the film without money in very short time. So the idea was to succeed to do it is to film the spaces that we know. You know, it wasn't. It was like a mathematical thing to do. It's to shoot and to be where we belong in a way. And there's a lot of like people we see in the movie. They are our friends. A lot of apartments. They are like friends' apartments. The bars and the nightclubs are friends' nightclubs and bars. So it was a natural way to do it, and yeah, with this black and white choice, it was also like very peculiar, because since the invention of color, I don't remember there's a feature of Tunisian film who decided to shoot the city in black and white. So so this is also was a way to show the city in like in an old and new way, because black and white is also related to the film noir, and it's like classic Hollywood genre film from the 50s. So yeah, an old and new way to see the city.
Mm-hmm. And talking about genre films and film noir, you already shortly explained that you and Youssef are finding common themes before starting a project. What was your inspirations, artworks, other films when it comes to Black Medusa?
Well, the thing is, Yusuf wanted to do a remake of an American film directed by Abel Ferrara called Mrs. 45 since a lot of years. And he didn't manage to do it. And he was like since 4 or 5 years, he's talking to me about this project. And I have to say, I wasn't interested in doing it. And I never saw the film at this point. I saw it like a couple of weeks before we started shooting Black Medusa. But he was kept telling me about the story, etc., etc. And I really wasn't interested in doing it. Abel Ferrara, it's not a director that I like actually. But yeah, for Yusuf it was Mrs. 45. For me, it was more Brian De Palma films, like Dressed to Kill, for instance. So yeah, it was also Crash by David Cronenberg was like main influence. Basically in the score, because also the score of the film by Howard Shore was made with an electric guitar, and it was also related to another like metal tool, which is the cars. For us it's a knife, but for Cronenberg it was the car. And yeah, it was also like the Book of Intranquility of Fernando Pessoa, and yeah, stuff like that. It was like many influences, but the film noir, it's a genre that we wanted to explore, because it was interesting to do like the opposite film to the old film noir genre films, because it's usually a male character, and like dealing with his virility, and the woman characters usually are like to help or to kill the male character. And it was in a way to take this old, very famous and very interesting genre, and to rework it in another culture and society, which is Tunisia, and in another era, which is nowadays, and to try to to explore it with another perspective.
Thank you. I have one last question.
Yeah.
About Nada, which is a very complex, enigmatic main character, and part of her being enigmatic is her refusal to speak. Is this something that you knew from the very start that she was going to be like this, or is it something that came during the writing of the script, or how did you came with this setup of her internal world, not portrayed by speaking, but through music, for example?
Yeah, well, it's a kind of related to the Abel Ferrara film, because in Mrs. 45, the character is don't speak. She's not deaf. She's I'm sorry, I don't know the word in English. A person who cannot speak. Can you help me with this? Yeah, she's mute. The character of Abel Ferrara's film is mute. so when I knew that, you know, because Yusuf kept talking about this new character, but I find it more interesting when I first wrote the first draft of the Black Medusa, that that the character isn't mute. She simply decides not to speak, and she uses also her smartphone or and smartphone apps to communicate with people. This aspect, well, it's an aspect that I think we explore in different ways as like Tunisian filmmakers, because we have like a very how to say it, a very peculiar relationship to words. You know, we lived like a very large part of our lives in dictatorship that didn't allow us to express ourselves. So we, for years, we invented invented ways to express ourselves without talking. So it's a kind of natural, and I have to say, I never did like cinema studies. I came from literature background, and language is something that's very interesting to me to observe and to reflect on and to use in my work. I already told you that that we did a film together with Yusuf and another a third director friend. It was a documentary called Babylon, and it was there was a lot of languages in this film, but we decided not to subtitle the film, and to let the audience like lost in those like multitude of languages. And also, I think there's a lot of words in contemporary films. There's everything is explained by words, and everything is said, and everything is yeah. There's kind of yeah, to put it in very simple ways. Nada refuses to talk, and also from our perspective, the director's perspective, it's a refusal also to explain to the audience by words, and to try to give the audience the chance to feel and to sense the atmosphere of the film, more than to simply listening to it from the mouth of the character. Or even though there's also, because the place of the language in the film, it's very complicated, because we see like words written in the script, and we hear also the voice of Nada at the beginning and at the end of the film, but she talks about like a very metaphorical story. So it's a way for us to think about the place of words and dialogues in films, actually. So, and it's a way also for Nada to avoid people, because I think she likes to be alone, you know. And but at some point, when she meets with the other like important character of the film, Noura, she discovers that maybe she likes to be alone, but she better likes it to be with this other character, you know. That's why she's kind of at this point, she's kind of not knowing what she wants anymore, you know. And she discovered that with this another young woman, Noura, she discovered also feelings that she thought that she couldn't, or that she couldn't have, you know. And that's what makes her life becomes flattering, you know. And she's exploring like a new way to feel and also to talk, because she writes a letter also, which is very important for us, that there's like actual letter, not like SMS or like messages or emails. And she writes a letter, and it's also a way to to communicate, you know, that we lost actually. Even though I'm going to send you a letter very soon with TCP, but yeah, writing letters is something that is lost, and that was very important at some point for us, like a human being, and it tells us about yeah, the changes or the mutation of our society. And in the film, there's all those aspects, you know, there's words, letters, messages, screens, emails, etc. So yeah, it was part of what we wanted to do, is to explore the way people communicate with each other.
Indeed, it's a beautiful exploration on how we communicate and the internal struggle actually that the main character has. So thank you so much for this wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes, we are very happy to have you, and we hope to see you very soon in Rotterdam again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, in real life. Thank you very much, and see you soon.
Thank you.